You are listening to Paulie on the Pod. Hey guys, so stoked that you're tuning in. Season 2. Could not be more thankful and grateful for your support, especially through these tough times the entire world is dealing with. We've got a lot of cool things coming up despite the challenges the whole world is facing. But today, before we get into the cool stuff like the music, you know what I mean, and the conversations and the cool stories, we're gonna go ahead and give shout outs and thanks to our sponsors who are sticking with us through thick and thin, because without them, none of this would be possible. Starting with Overcast Fishing Apparel. For anglers, by anglers. Tattoo-inspired design. If you've got tattoos or you're into the tattoo design, art, the lifestyle, the culture, if you're a fisherman or fisherwoman, like I promise, this is the brand for you. Check them out on Instagram at Overcast Fishing Apparel. No dashes, dots, spaces, underscores, or lines, none of that. Just Overcast Fishing Apparel. They're dope. Check them out. Take my word for it. Next, we'd like to give big thanks and shout outs to Pomeroy Woodwork and Design. Now, it is a carpentry business, based right here in Jacksonville, Florida, specializing in traditional craftsmanship, custom design, cabinet making, crown molding and trim, furniture refurbishing and repurposing. They'll do everything from like fine cabinetry to framing to building decks, privacy fences, kitchen cabinets, Murphy closets, built, California closets, like anything, literally anything. They can do it all. High quality craftsmanship. Hit them up at Pomeroy Woodwork Design on Instagram and at pomeroywoodworkdesign@gmail.com is the email address. That's POMEROYWOODWORKDESIGN@gmail.com. Promise you won't be disappointed. Holler at them if you got any carpentry needs. And finally, the first supporter of the podcast. Couldn't be more stoked on this sponsor. Mad Axe Decks. They're custom-made skateboards, custom-shaped right here by a local skateboarder, a good friend of mine, Dalton Maddox. The guy's a beast. You send him your dimensions, your designs, your inspirations. Like, I rode Jeff Grosso's deck for a long time, but I had a little bit of modifications to him. My guy put me on the perfect deck. I couldn't be more happy with him, but please don't take my word for it. Holler at him. Get your own today. You can check him out on the gram at mad_X_decks. That's MAD_ACTS_DECKS. Couldn't be more thankful and grateful for our sponsors and all of you, our listeners, and all the supporters of Paulie on the Pod, because without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So here we go, episode 12, season 2. Let's fucking get it.
It's Paulie on the Pod.
You're listening to P on the Pod.
Yo, let's go. You're on the
You're listening to P on the Pod.
Yo, what is good, my people? It is April 13th, 2020. Your boy Paulie Walnuts here, thanking you for your support. I'd greatly appreciate you taking this moment to like, subscribe, and share the podcast, the Instagram, and the channel. All right, now that that's done, let's talk about this week's guests. All right, so we are going to start off with my lovely fiance and I discussing movies and series we've been watching during this lockdown. And then I was extremely fortunate to have my younger brother Now, he used to be my little brother, but that's definitely changed. And his beautiful wife, who are professional bodybuilders, fitness models, and trainers. They were able to come over, being that we are a immediate family and we've had a lot of contact with each other. And they sat down with me. So it's my pleasure to give you a quarantine review with Josemarie Marcheni and an in-depth view of professional fitness personnel and how they are adapting with this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So here you go. This is season 2, episode 2, overall episode 12. Josemarie Marcheni, Alex and Amy Pomeroy. Let's get it. Hey guys, your boy Paulie back here. I've got my gorgeous better half, Josemarie Marcheni, with me. We have been dealing with the COVID-19 crisis lockdown.
Lock it down.
How have you been, my love?
I've been keeping the peace at bay.
Fair enough. Okay.
Trying to not let this affect me mentally as much as it's going to maybe in the next couple of months, because it's kind of unpredictable, and it'd be naive to say that things will be normal, because maybe they shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the new normal is going to be, if you will. But anyway, we are here to sit down and talk about a couple of ways we've been coping with all of this. We've been Netflixing, HBO Now or Go or
HBO Now.
Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
All of the above. We've been streaming it up and chilling.
Yeah.
So some of these are newer movies and shows. Some of them we are very late to. But
one of them we're both very late to. The other one, like, you were late to.
okay.
Let's fucking...
Fair enough. To clear the air on that one.
we'll get there.
But yeah, anyway, we've been binging countless hours, it seems like, of streaming entertainment. So we're going to go over that, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing to cope with this, and yeah, what we think of them. Starting with Jumanji 3, The Next Level, starring The Rock, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, also featuring Danny Glover, Danny DeVito, and Nick Jonas, as well as Alex Wolff. It is directed by Jake Kasdan. Grossed like $754 million.
Lots of money. Yeah.
Money.
I mean, it was a really good movie. I think that they did a really good job of making this a continuation rather than I don't know, I feel like it was his own entity. It didn't try to take over Jumanji.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The original. It was hilarious.
It was so good. Lots of laughs. They were on a new level. It wasn't like they went back to the same place. Adding Danny,
a different adventure.
Yeah, Danny DeVito and Danny Glover in there, as well as the original characters, and seeing how they switched up in their avatars was incredibly hilarious. Definitely, the kids enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Very much.
A lot.
So for those out there, whether you have kids or you don't have kids,
it's worth a watch because it's entertaining either way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got 3 American treasures right there with The Rock, Jack Black, and Kevin Hart, and then you add the OGs, Danny Glover and Danny DeVito. It was just, take our word for it, watch it. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next one we watched, Korean film.
Train to Busan.
The Train to Busan.
If you can get over subtitles, which is, I think, what a lot of people have a problem with, they feel like they're reading a movie rather than actually being able to enjoy the film. But people use peripheral vision all the time to people watch. So, how is this any different? There's plenty of people all the time who don't speak English in front of you. So in our minds, we always interpret what the fuck they're saying anyways. So why can't you just watch a movie and actually read it and try to use your peripherals? Like,
yeah, if you can get past subtitles, like the world of film and cinema just is like so deep, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the streaming services is that I've grown up, you know, just being from an Italian American family, like I've grown up watching subtitles, a lot of Italian films and such, and I've always kind of been used to it, and it's never deterred me, but I know a lot of people, you know, kind of deters them. Just start, I mean, you just don't even notice it once you get 15-20 minutes in, but this film came out in 2016. Like I said, it was a Korean film. It was directed by Yeon Sang-ho, featuring Gong Yoo and Young Yoo Mi, and it was hands down one of the best zombie films I've ever seen.
It was really cool. It kind of reminded me a little bit of World War Z with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And how like fast the zombies changed and just kind of like how it took over.
Right, and how frantic really, they were. Like they were like latching on to each other.
Yeah, it was very intense, and every turn had you, you know, kind of like second guessing, like, holy shit, are they gonna actually be able to make it? I mean, they're on a train. You gotta think that's a confined space.
Yeah, closed quarters for sure.
It made me think of Snakes on a Plane immediately, you know.
Motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane.
Something like that, you know. And then I feel really bad for the main character, but it was her birthday, and I mean, you don't know how old she was turning that day, but what the fuck does it matter? Zombies are taking over, and all she wanted to go was to her mom's house, little brat.
Yeah, she would have never been on that train, but she might not have survived if she wasn't on that train.
Yeah, I know, because Graham doesn't really necessarily, and she's just at home chilling. Like, I don't know, it's really interesting the way that everything plays out, and I think that even though it is kind of like a sad ending, it gives you a little bit of that twist. Like, I don't know if you guys watched The Mist, but in The Mist, it was a pretty fucked up, you know, twist at the end, and it was gonna almost be that had it not been for her being able to get past something and doing it in the end, and it was really pretty and cute. Cried my pretty little face off.
Yeah.
Train to Busan.
Yeah, Train to Busan. 2 thumbs up from me. I think from her as well. The next film we saw was The Invisible Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That was really interesting.
Yeah, this is different from Invisible Man, which was a Kevin Bacon film in the like mid 90s. This was The Invisible Man. The director was Lee Whannell, starring Elizabeth Moss, Oliver Jackson, Cohen, Aldous Hodge, Michael Dorman, and Storm Reed. Tell us the premise, my love.
Picture this. Girl loves man. Man controls girl. Girl tries to get away. Ends up getting away. Crazy plot twists happen. He comes back, but you can't see him because he's the Invisible Man.
Yeah, the Invisible Man for sure.
No, it is really good though. It was definitely very suspenseful. You called it as far as like what kind of
how he was invisible.
Like like how he generated something like that, you know. And
they drop subtle hints, and if you're willing to pick up on them, you'll know exactly how.
What's crazy is that I was trying to figure out who he was, and it wasn't until, if you guys have watched The Haunting of Hill House, it's Luke. Luke is the twin brother who's addicted to heroin in The Haunting of Hill House, and he's the person who plays him, and he's the crazy.
Yeah, and the leading lady is Elizabeth Moss, who is from Handmaid's Tale, the leading lady in Handmaid's Tale.
She's also was back in the day in, I think the movie's called Return to Witch Mountain, and
oh shit, really?
Yeah, she was like, that was like back in the day, like maybe like in the 90s, like not like the 60s, 70s clearly, because she's not that fucking old, but
like but she was in the remake
one. In the remake that was like around our time that showed on Disney, and she was also a girl in the movie Girl Interrupted. She had half her face burnt off in it, and she was that character.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I love that movie, Girl Interrupted. That's classic.
That's one of my favorite movies. But
fucking love it.
That could be something we talk about another time. But yeah, no, this movie was really good. She did a really good job. I think that she was she's really good at playing like crazy but sane.
For sure. Yeah, like that victim that's like, oh my, like everybody, like they want to play her as crazy, but really she's the one that has it all together, and in the end fucking rises
to the top
and kicks ass.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you know, there's no way, Sid, there's no way we can talk about movies and series and everything dealing in this quarantine time without bringing up our next series, Netflix original series, which has completely taken the country and the world by storm.
Oh.
The Tiger King.
Yeah, you know.
Joe fucking Exotic. Listen.
The more I think about it, the more it doesn't really necessarily, like, Joe Exotic, Carol Baskin, and fucking...
Here, let me just
what's his name?
Let me lay out all the characters real quick. Joe Exotic. Doc Alton.
That fucker.
They call him Bagvan, which means like Lord. So anyway, so Joe Exotic, Doc Bagvan Alton, Jeff Lowe.
Oh my god, that creep.
Carol and Howard Baskins.
You know, it's a thing.
That bitch, like, Carol Baskins.
You know, I think that it's obviously clearly extremely entertaining having somebody be that idiotic and
ratchet
openly
and just
and
like
about it, you know what I mean? It's like
flamboyant and
my god,
oh man.
Not even just that, like the flamboyancy has nothing to do with it.
No, but I mean
like
in the sense of him being an
persona.
entertainer.
Yeah,
like something, I mean, like he was just all about
like he's just
a show.
And apparently there's this other thing that's come out we haven't watched yet, but it's meant to kind of, like, these people that were interviewed in the original series talk about how he was actually scared of tigers, and then the white tiger was blind, and then the other one was like sedated. So it's crazy that they show him as somebody who was like such a superior with tigers. Besides that, like, Carol Baskins, even if she did or did not kill her husband, like, she is just as bad as all of them. So I think it just sucks that, like,
yeah, the hypocrisy, like, she tried to act like she was like a saint, and she's doing the same thing.
Yeah, but
and she used to breed.
Yeah, no, I know, but you know that then she decided to do something different and whatever.
Yeah, no, she's trying to be like the saving grace of like all tigers in captivity while having tigers in captivity. I'm not buying it. I don't think any of them are stand-up citizens or deserve a humanitarian award by any means. I don't think exotic and wild animals should be in captivity. It was highly entertaining though.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we go to zoos all the time, so that's also same thing.
Yeah, but they ain't in fucking cages like they have at Carol Baskin's place or Joe Exotic's place.
They're confined to a space like we're
go to
confined to this house.
Fair enough. Go to I agree. But go to the Jacksonville Zoo and you see the enclosure that these tigers have, and the animals have, and this is not your backyard privatized zoo. These are actually like almost.
You decorate the cage, it's still a cage.
All right. Fair enough. I agree. I still like going to the zoo. I'm sorry.
I do. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50. You know, as much as I fucking hate the zoo, the concept, I'm also not likely to see an animal that looks that gorgeous in the wild and not actually get mauled, which is, you know, the beauty of nature. But fuck it, right?
Yeah. So our final feature, which we just watched the other night, super entertaining. It is a Screen Australia film, Little Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Director was Abe Forsyth. Starring Lupita Nyong'o as Miss Caroline, Alexander England as Dave, and Josh Gad as Mr. Teddy McGiggles. Tell us what you think about it. Tell us the premise of the movie.
It is the lady from Us. She's really amazing in this because she's kind of just like...
Lupita,
yeah, she's like a badass, but she's also like really sweet. She's trying to basically save her kindergarten class from the zombie apocalypse that's kind of like taken on, because the place that she was taking them on that field trip that day is directly next to a military base. So
is that military testing gone wrong?
Yeah. And then before you know it, you know, she's kind of like really keeping her cool for everything that's going on. And one of the things is the Olaf, the guy who plays Olaf.
Josh Gad.
Yeah, that guy. He is really good at being, you know, that character, but also like when things go wrong, he definitely like portrays like what I feel like would be the reality of the situation.
All of the people
like,
buying up all the toilet paper. Like, he literally embodied everybody buying up the toilet paper right now. As in, like, the minute shit went down, he panicked and cared about no one or nothing but himself.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was great because, you know, again, it was like comedy, scary, not really, but, you know.
Teddy McGiggles!
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. We watched The Vault last night.
Oh yeah, The Vault with James Franco.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, that chick from
Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super entertaining. I did call that one at the end, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of like a bank robbery thriller.
It was a corny ending for sure.
Meets like Paranormal Activity almost.
Ish, yeah. It's like they rob a bank and they don't expect
the
shit
haunted
to go.
vault.
Yeah, it was actually like haunted, and you know, it was a little bit of the Sixth Sense action there in the end.
But anyway, I really appreciate you sitting down with us, my
hey,
love.
You're welcome.
And talking about these entertaining things and the way that we can cope right now as we are locked in our homes.
Oh, you can always download an app to learn a different language.
Yay, this is also what we've been doing. Duolingo. Tell them.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to learn a bunch of different languages because I think it'd be cool to travel and go to places and not feel like a foreigner.
Yeah.
Being that
so
when
what
I
have you
came
been
here,
working
I
on?
didn't, you know any English, you know? So learning French, and later on I'll take on some Italian.
Yeah.
I have learned a little bit of French prior, so I kept it going with English, but being that Spanish was my first language, I'm going to try to take on Italian, learning it through Spanish. And honestly, it was pretty easy, so I'm pretty excited to see like how that part of my brain is going to work.
Yeah, I've been learning Spanish, and I have too been you know, I being from an Italian American family, I know a lot of different words and phrases and a lot of basics, but I have been trying to tackle a little bit of Italian on the side, but being that my love and her family are Puerto Rican and first language is Spanish, me and my daughters are trying to get caught up. But anyway, these are a couple of things you can do.
Puzzles, color.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a puzzle man, but she's already crushed one out. I've been gardening. Yeah. So you can cope. You can do it. Social distancing. We can overcome this as Americans and as human beings as a whole. Don't panic. Stay clean.
Keep your shit together. It's gonna be okay.
And keep your shit together. I love you. Thank you for sitting down with us. And I love all you guys out there. Appreciate you tuning in. Holler.
Bye.
Hey guys, we're back. Paulie Walnuts here, and I'm super stoked. My guest today, I have my brother and my sister-in-law,
What's going on?
Alex and Amy Pomeroy. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, stoked you could be here. So why don't we start off? Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Where are you guys from? How old are you?
All right. Well, we're a day apart.
Wow.
We'll both be 32 this year. I'm June 8th. She's June 9th. I've been in Jacksonville for over 20 years now, so I guess you could say I'm from Jacksonville. I was born in South Florida, Boynton Beach, moved around a good bit when we were young, and spent the formative years up in Pittsburgh, which was awesome, and moved to North Carolina for a year, then ended up in Jacksonville actually on my birthday. I think it was my 9th or my 10th birthday, and been here ever since. I like it in Jacksonville.
So what about you, Amy? You from Jacksonville originally?
Yes, born and raised on the west side.
West side? Well, awesome. So how old were you, Amy, when you got into fitness and working out?
I started working out back in 2012. I found out that I was insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, and was having some hormonal issues. So I found out and decided I wanted to do everything holistically, naturally, and that was diet and exercise.
Right on.
Yeah, so I started working out, basically just at home type stuff, little easy body weight workouts, and then slowly progressed into the gym when I decided to get more serious.
Right.
Fitness, working
I think
out, and
nowadays most gyms can be a bit more intimidating for women, especially young, attractive women.
Oh yeah, I'm sure all the testosterone, the guys in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you right now, for any guy listening, the last thing a woman wants to do when she goes to the gym is talk to you. That's not why they're going there. So I know that I have a lot of female clients, and especially ones first starting out, it's a bit intimidating, and it takes them a while to find their comfort level and their comfort zone.
oh, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually danced all of my life, so I was always active since I was 3 years old, and then I kind of stopped dancing out of high school, so I just stopped being active, altogether. So I decided to work out and knew I had to move my body, and it wasn't just what us, females thought we needed to do and just do cardio. So I actually started to, lift heavy weights and focus more on different body parts. And
Yeah. Really started getting into it.
yes.
Well, that's huge.
How old were you when you started getting? I mean, because I remember it was that weight bench I bought from Stephen Ledbetter that I never ended up using.
Yeah, I mean, I remember working out in the garage with like buddies and with dad and stuff in like high school, but that would just be like sporadic. I got my first gym membership when I was 20 years old, so almost 12 years ago, and it wasn't anything serious. It was a couple times a week. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I'd go work out with buddies, but it wasn't like there wasn't really much rhyme or reason to it besides I liked the way that it felt and I liked pushing myself. But I've been competing in bodybuilding since 2015. So what got me into it was a bad breakup, a divorce actually. And for those of you that know me, know that backstory, but I'm not going to go into that here. But I will say that I was already working out. I already loved the gym. I was going through a really, really tough time. And I'd had people tell me up until that point, you should try your hand in bodybuilding. And it was never really anything on my radar. But at that point in my time, I was going through so much. Selling my house, going through a divorce, just like completely changing of the tides, and I needed something positive to focus my energy on. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. I'd never even been to a bodybuilding show before. I coached myself, And my first competition, I competed in men's physique. For the first couple years I did. And that show, I did the open class, and I got third place out of like 16 or 17 guys, and I was just hooked.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I love the sport, but I'm not sure if it was like that outlet at that point in time that made me fall so in love with it, or if it's just that I really love the sport that much, or both. But it was like that foundation for me was solidified that this is what I wanted to do and this is what I enjoyed doing. And from then on, like my first 2 years, that show, and then my next year competing, I only did one show each. And then I got more serious. And in that time frame, I always ate healthy. We were raised eating right.
Yes, we were.
But it was not like I would diet for a show for 8 or 12 weeks, and then after that I'd go back to like nothing was measured. So after the first 2 years or so of competing, I was like, okay, if I want to be competitive at this, I need to be more regimented year round. So I started taking it seriously year round, and that's when I really started to see the progress for sure.
Nice. So tell us about Affinity Fitness, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
So it's our company that we own. We coach. We're both personal trainers full-time here in Jacksonville, Florida. And then we also coach anything from powerlifters to competitive bodybuilders to just lifestyle clients, which is just somebody that, could be the mom that wants an outlet or wants to lose a couple pounds and feel better about herself, or just the average person that, they're not looking for anything too crazy, but they want some structure in their life. They need accountability. So we coach people all over the country, even up into Canada as well.
So let me ask you this: do you have female clients as well, and do you have male clients as well? I mean, or do you pretty much stick with females?
I only coach female clients.
I coach male and female, and I train male and female. When it comes to competitors, I only have one bikini girl that is actually moving up. She holds a lot of muscle. So bikini, for those of you that don't know, there's different divisions, and bikini is it's the smallest division in terms of muscularity, but it's the most popular division. So she actually just did the Arnold Classic Amateur up in Ohio.
Cool.
About a little over a month ago. She looked phenomenal, but we just didn't get the look that we wanted, and it's because she out-muscled every girl in her class. So it's a subjective sport. You really have to, if you're doing this for like a placing or for the accolades, for a trophy that 9 times out of 10 is like a plastic trophy or a cheaply made metal trophy, then you're not going to last long, because this shit's hard.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it for like self-progression, you want to challenge yourself, you want to be better than you were yesterday, then you'll go far. So you have to keep that in mind. It's a subjectively judged sport. I could place dead last in front of a judging panel and bring the exact same package with the exact same lineup and place, second, third, first in front of a different judging panel.
Yeah, it's just like skateboarding.
Yeah, you just have to know that.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It depends on, what you're looking for personally and what appeals. I totally get it.
Especially in my division.
Yeah.
Every girl looks just about the same. We're just doing the same poses. The only difference is your hair, your suit.
Right.
So I will say that at bigger shows, the bikini girls could have, I think my client that I was just referring to, I think she had like 30 in her class, and they're separated by like 2 inch. So that's a 2-inch height class.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's 30 something girls, and then there's 8 classes.
Wow.
So you're talking about a lot of girls. Now, I won't say that all the girls look the same. I will say, to the average untrained eye, they all look amazing. Everybody's in great shape. Now, to somebody that looks at these bodies and these physiques all the time and does it for a living and analyzes it on the level that we do, I'll say that there's minimal separation in like the top 8 to 10, but there's clear cut like top 10, and then from there, I will agree with what Amy said. Like, it's like, what do you like,
Right.
at that point, because the conditioning is really comparable, the muscularity is really comparable. It had like things that judges preferences, like big chest, not big chest, blonde hair, brunette, suit color, curly hair, like things like that. It's human nature that your eye is going to go towards what it likes. So
Right.
that has to come into play, whether they want to admit it or not.
Yeah, I'd be a sucker for the brunettes, especially the Hispanic ladies.
Yeah.
So with the Affinity Fitness, do you guys have plans to like have a brick and mortar establishment one day, or are you guys just gonna working from home, or?
Yeah, so the the coronavirus madness has kind of changed a lot for us. Number one, gyms have been closed down here in Florida since the 20th of last month. So we're no longer able to train our clients in person. So we're just working with online clients remotely. But the game plan was, we had a building picked out and a letter of intent and everything ready to go. We wanted to open up a smaller private personal training studio here in Jacksonville. But however long this lasts and
Right.
what the economy looks like on the other side of it, while what we do in a lot of people's eyes is very important to their physical, but as well as their mental health and well-being.
Dude, completely.
It is a luxury item, so I'm not in a huge rush right now with all of the uncertainty to just jump into a tens of thousands of dollar
Investment, yeah. Completely.
business venture when
Right.
I have no idea what normal is going to look like on the other side of this.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you guys about how it's been really affecting your lives, and so how have you been able to train your clients? I mean, is it basically people at home with pull-up bars, or if they have their own weight benches, or just trying to keep them on their diets, or?
Yes, I am still training people at their houses, so I'm doing a few house calls, but it's nothing.
It's minimal.
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very.
So
But whatever they have is what what
Is what
I'm
you're gonna
going
work
to
with.
use. Yes.
Right.
yeah, and what I will say, what I've been telling all my clients, because I still have clients that I'm doing their programming and their diets and everything, and they have minimal stuff. And I'm not talking about like a bikini girl. I'm talking about like bodybuilders, classic physique competitors, people that have to maintain a lot of muscle. I have a guy out in California that's competing here early June, and all we have to work with is a treadmill and bands. Now he bought some,
Resistance bands?
yeah, he's bought some good ones that they have handle attachments, and you can attach up to, I think he's got like a 20, 30, 40, 50 pound attachment, so you could put like over 100 pounds per arm. But when you're used to a full gym training, so it's like it's an adapt and overcome mentality, and
Right.
I'm really surprised and really proud that the majority of my clients have stuck with it. They are wanting, even the ones that I train in person, they're getting online programming, workouts they can do. They're scooping up whatever fitness equipment they can, which right now it's fucking bullshit. The price gouging going on. People are
Right,
selling
that's-
like 15-pound dumbbells for $100. But people are scooping up. I've got one guy that's he's a huge gun enthusiast, and he was having a hard time finding weights, and I was like, go get some. I know that he has a lot of ammo at his house, and he told me that. I said, go get some buckets, like just smaller car wash buckets.
Oh, fill them with ammo.
Yep, that's what we did. He's got a scale at the house, so he's scaled buckets out, 20,
Hell
30,
yeah.
40-pound buckets, and we're doing...
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah. So, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, but what I will say is the people that come out on the other side of this looking good, they might not look as good as they did. Obviously, they're not able to train as intensely, but what I'm telling all my clients is you have to control the variables that you can control, meaning anybody can do cardio.
Right.
You can go outside and do cardio. Anybody can control their diet. Now, some of my clients are, hey, I'm having a hard time finding chicken breast. Okay, cool. Well, I can substitute that for a million other things. So a lot of people are using this like, oh, I can't work out, so I'm going to come off my diet.
Right.
How much sense does that
Or
make?
drink every single day.
It doesn't make any
You
sense.
know.
You can't do one thing, so you're going to throw everything else out the window.
Right,
You should
right.
be locking down the diet and the cardio harder than ever. when you can't train with intensity. But that just goes to show you mindset. And let me tell you, I mean, you need physical strength for this sport, but more so than that, you need mental fortitude and mental strength more than anything.
Do you, I follow a couple of guys that I know through listening and following to Joe Rogan over the years. David Goggins. You know about him?
With him, no.
He was a guy that was overweight, and he was in the Navy, and he was the only person, I believe, to go through the Navy SEAL training 3 times back to back before he finally made it.
That's insane.
And he's like
He's written a book.
Yeah, he's like a motivational speaker now. Yeah,
Yes.
he's like the one that's like.
I have his book. I haven't read it yet.
Follow him on Instagram, dude. He's great. Like, he's going on crazy runs, working out all the time, telling you, like, you know, there's a daily, basically, like, nothing of greatness is accomplished by being a bitch. Get out of your bed, you know, kind of stuff. Another one is Jocko Willenick, I think is his last name. He's another one that he posts every day, like, waking up at 4 a.m. and all about, like, the mental fortitude and just kind of once you get used to the routine and the suck and like it just becomes your new normal.
I was gonna say it's not even a routine anymore. It's your life.
Right. And Cameron Haynes is another one. Now he is a professional bow hunter, but he's got an awesome gym in his house. His whole thing is keep hammering. And every day he like works out, practices bow because he goes on these massive, crazy backcountry elk hunts. And so you're packing everything in. You're out there for days on end hiking, and then you got to pack. You got to dismember your kill and pack it back out
and carry it.
Yeah. So he's like 365, 24/7. Yeah, like gym and hunt life. But those are a couple guys. They just recently popped into my head that I follow. Especially just on my down days, dude, when I get depressed and I like pull up Instagram and I listen to David Goggins' daily like dose of telling me to man up. Man, it helps, gets me out of bed.
It does. So let me tell you that there's you know, we were both prepping for contests. The first one got postponed and we were, I don't know, 7 weeks out. Then the next one was a pro qualifier, and they redid the qualification guidelines, so we were good to go to do that show, and then they postponed that one. So I will say that coaching as many people as we do and training as many people as we do, they are watching us.
Right.
You know? So, and it's not like I'm doing this for anybody else besides myself, but that is in the back of my mind that why would these people that I'm telling them not to give up on what they want, why would they listen to me when I give up on what I want? So we live the lifestyle year round. I mean, it's not a hobby. I know it sounds stupid and self-centered, and it's not about like just looking good and having abs and striated glutes and feathered quads and stuff. It's so much more than that.
Feathered quads. I've never. Right on, man.
There's a.
Love it.
There's a level of depth there that, it's almost inexplainable, what you can get out from this. But going back to the guy you talked about, that did the Navy SEAL training 3 times back to back. I mean, that right there alone is insane. For somebody to do that and fail, I can't even fathom. I know what some of that training is, and I can't even fathom it to go back to that.
Right.
And then fail a second time and go back again.
I mean, that's
insane, right?
To me, that's more impressive than passing it on the first go.
For sure.
But mental fortitude is what serves you well in this sport. And what's funny is my life has gotten better on every aspect since I've been bodybuilding, because the dedication that it takes and the commitment that carries over into other aspects of your life. Now, it is, I'll tell you right now, and Amy can attest to this, there are some tough times. We have a great relationship. We rarely fight. I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast, but it's hard dating or being married to somebody that does this full time. You know, there's times where I'm doing, you know, an hour and a half of cardio every day. I'm eating very, very low calories, and she has to know in those last 4 or 5 weeks before a contest that that's not.
You're going to be hangry and irritable.
Not even like, yes, but I'm going to be like a shell. And what's important is like the normal for us might be like, hey, you're so beautiful, me giving her attention all the time,
But
putting my
I'm not the
arms around her,
right then.
loving on her. It's not, she's not the priority. It's so crazy. It's almost like lucid. Like I'll be laying in bed and I'll be like, man, you should get up and go put your arms around her and tell her how pretty she is. And you just physically are so shot you don't have the energy to do it.
Right.
So it's like she's the real MVP in these preps, man, because she's so selfless and realizes that like he still loves me, he still feels all these things, but this is going to be a temporary time of suck for right now to achieve.
Yeah, it's only temporary.
Yeah, what he wants to achieve. But so the sacrifice does not just come from me, and this sport is going to go one of two ways for you. You're either going to be very, very lonely, or you're going to have, a small support system like an awesome partner, husband, wife, maybe a sibling or parent or something that gets it. And even if they don't get it, they're behind you 100%.
Right.
Because it can get lonely. I can't go out and eat all the time. Now we go see family and stuff, and I don't leave the house without bringing a meal with me. I mean, everything's
He's
measured.
telling the truth. Honestly, it's been years since I've seen him pull up to my mom's house for dinner without his own Tupperware.
Yeah,
I could never do it.
So it's like, it's not that you can't have a life and you can't have these relationships. You just have to have, you have to explain it well enough to the people that like, hey, this isn't about you. It's not that I don't want to eat your food. It's about something I want to do for myself and a sacrifice that I'm going to make for myself. But a lot of times I see these competitive bodybuilders on the elite level sacrificing these personal relationships for their goals when you don't have to. You can go. I explained to Amy's grandparents under normal circumstances, we go see them every Sunday. And I have to explain to her grandfather almost every Sunday why I bring my own food and why I'm not going to eat fried chicken and cake and stuff like that when he makes it every Sunday.
And he'll try and give it to you every time.
Every time. Her grandmother, you just got to tell her like one time, like, I'm prepping for a show, and that's it. And she's got it locked in, and she won't ask you again until after the show. But you got to explain it to him. But that's fine. I'll still do that because we want to see them.
Right.
Where a lot of people will just stop talking to their friends, stop talking to their family because they can't go out and drink. You can still go out with your friends. You just can't go drink, or you can still go to your family's house for the family dinner. You might just not be able to partake.
We've been to a wedding while we've been on prep.
Yeah, I've eaten cold food we just did it a couple months ago at our friend's wedding. We're in between the ceremony and the reception. We were out in the car eating cold chicken and rice and vegetables out of Tupperware. But it's like, we were happy to be there and celebrating them, and it's like people feel bad for you. Like, I choose to do this shit.
Yeah. I got a question for you, but before that, it just popped into my head. Have you guys heard of Wildcrafters? It's the non-alcoholic bar right here on Park Street.
Oh, yeah,
not far
yeah.
from Five
Actually,
Points.
yep, I saw a write-up about them.
It's amazing. We've
That's
gone there
cool.
several
They were
times.
out at, they've been out at...
Ram?
Yes.
Yep. One of Joe's Marie's friends, actually two of them are the bartenders. One of her last roommates and her best friend is one of the bartenders. Super cool place, super chill. The kava is very interesting. It kind of, you feel a weird tickle on your tongue. And they've got cool like mocktails where they mix the kava with like ginger beer and stuff like that. They call it the kava mule. They do kava coladas, so it's like a pina colada with the kava tea in it. But it makes you kind of relaxed. And
well, for a lot of people, it's the social unwinding
but
and
that's
like
the other thing.
decompression. It's not the
exactly
actual,
right.
even though alcohol is scientifically proven to. There's actually lots of studies that say alcohol within reason. Now that's very subjective.
I think they're talking about the Italians drinking red wine and stuff.
Yeah, but like no, but even like a drink, maybe 3 nights a week or so is proven to be beneficial for like your blood pressure and stuff, and your overall mental health and well-being. So replacing something like alcohol is obviously, it's very addicting. But replacing that with something like what you're talking about, you're still getting that same release and that same decompression and mental outlet, and you can be social without having the negative.
And the one thing, the COVID, like, if anything, it just kind of, and I didn't, like, realize I felt this way, like, at first, but then all of a sudden I was just sitting there after I drank one, and I was like, I just feel so relaxed. You never feel inebriated. You could have a dozen of them, and you'll never feel more than just like how you are right there. And they have a non-alcoholic gin substitute, a bunch of non-alcoholic, different beers and stuff like that. So it's just like you said, it's all about the social environment and being able to go to a place as an adult and chill in a social setting without having to deal with the whole, bunch of drunk guys, hawking over your girl, trying to start trouble with you, or this, bachelorette party got so wasted, now they're falling on the floor, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever it is. But yeah, so definitely check it out. It's really cool. They got a bunch of hanging plants everywhere. Very relaxing, zen feeling.
That's awesome.
They play music. They got DJs and bands that play out there too. Super cool. But what I was going to ask you is, what does, like, for you, Amy, what is your daily, like, fitness at, before all this COVID-19, what is, like, your daily diet and daily fitness kind of regimen? And then we'll go with you, Alex.
Okay, I eat 5 meals a day.
5?
Yes, 5 meals. He eats way more than I do.
Go ahead, you talk about you.
I eat 5 meals a day. Every meal has protein, carbs in it.
Right.
Fats, just depending on how close I am to a show, we cut out fats.
And carbs. Not every meal has carbs.
But mainly fats we clean up. Other than that, I drink a little bit of coffee, but mainly liquids is water. And then I work out probably 5 times a week.
Okay.
And cardio, same, 5 times a week, between 20 and 30 minutes. Just depending on how close I am to show.
Cool.
I haven't had to do too much yet, but like Alex said, we were about 7 weeks out from our first show, so we were just getting into the fun stuff, which is cutting everything out and cardio increases.
Yeah.
So for me, I eat 7 meals a day.
7?
Yeah, I eat every...
So what is... Hold on. So what is the average size of these meals?
So I can tell you right now, I can tell you specifically what I'm eating right now. I'm eating about 3,800 calories a day.
Holy shit.
And that's actually that's about maintenance for me. I'm kind of not really gaining, I'm not really losing. But right now I can tell you, my first 2 meals, I have 100 grams of carbs and about 50 grams of protein, a little bit of fat. So just for perspective, 100 grams of carbs would be like 2 whole bagels. And that's not what I'm eating, but
right.
For me, I have, over the years, I've had some digestive issues. So I don't do oats anymore. I have a very sensitive tolerance to fibers. So I actually just found out that romaine lettuce 2 weeks ago was a trigger for me. The soluble fiber in the lettuce was too much. So
that sucks.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's really shitty to find out that the hard way, because I was laid up in bed with just extreme stomach pain for probably 2 hours. I mean, I was talking about going to the emergency room. I didn't know what it was, but
when you're on such a clean diet, it's kind of easier to figure out what is the issue.
Right, yeah. So I'm very fortunate to live such a regimented lifestyle, because I knew for a fact that that's the only thing that changed that day, because everything else is so calculated. So we both measure, I mean, I'm telling you.
Scientific method right there.
Yeah, we measure our proteins, we measure our rice, we measure our sweet potato, our egg whites. So for me, I've never eaten beef or pork in my life, so I don't eat red meat.
Yep, no, he hasn't. Never even had a hamburger. He grew up vegetarian.
I eat egg whites, whole eggs, depending on where I am. There's 5 grams of fat, roughly, in every whole egg. So if I'm doing very, very low fat, then the whole eggs will go, and I just do the whites. But on average, I eat about 24 to 28 eggs a day, and that'll be whites mostly. Like right now I'm having 2 whole eggs a day and the rest are whites. I eat extra
Damn, that's like to make a batch of creme brulee.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, and then I eat a lot of extra lean ground turkey, chicken breast. I do cream of rice instead of oatmeal now because the fiber is much lower, so it's good for me. I do a lot of jasmine rice, sweet potato,
Lots of
and then
rice.
for my vegetables, I try and keep the same for the most part. I've got a couple that I rotate, but I know which ones aren't super high in fiber that'll mess with me. But my cardio is just depends on, what phase I'm at. I do cardio year round. The lowest it goes is 20 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week, and that's fasted. I get up. I've got a treadmill at the house. I get up first thing, get dressed, I get on the treadmill, and I'll do my cardio. So right now I'm doing 30 minutes, 5 days a week, but it's gotten as high as an hour and a half, 6 days a week. I weight train 6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of time, but let me tell you that it is my mental outlet, and I thrive. I do the best in every aspect of my life, business and otherwise, personal, when I'm regimented. Obviously, when I'm starving in a prep, I'm not very productive, but when I'm just starting or like I'm midway through a prep and I'm like just hungry enough to where I'm not starving, but I know what time my meals are every day. I know, what time I'm working out when I'm doing my cardio. I'm so much more productive. I have good energy and really good focus, and it just carries over in other aspects.
Awesome. Well, let me switch gears from talking about fitness and everything. You all traveled when you got married.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the trip eloping. Where all did you guys go? Tell me some of your favorite places. Want to hear about it. What's up?
Go ahead.
Well, our travel agent, Alex, booked everything himself. So we started in Paris
Nice.
and stayed there for about 3 days. And then flew over to Rome. And we were there for 4 days and got married the 3rd day we were there
Awesome.
in the city. And we had just a photographer and a videographer at like 7 a.m.
Yep,
in the
cut the
morning.
sunrise.
And it was just us 4.
Sick.
Yeah,
Again, the videographer spoke like minimal English at best.
Yes.
The photographer was great. She's actually Russian, but she spoke
Like
Italian
6 languages.
and English as well. So she would like communicate with the videographer, and then she'd tell us like what we were doing and where we were going. And
Right.
yeah, that was awesome. And then where did we go from Rome?
From Rome, we took a train to Florence.
Nice.
Yes.
We actually missed that fucking train.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was terrible. So we get on the train, and it was like maybe an hour
the
and a
most.
half or so from Rome to Florence, and it was the first train that we took over there. And when they stopped, I mean, it was like they slowed down barely. Everything's obviously in Italian, and I'm listening. I'm like, I think this is I don't really know. And then when I realize we come to a complete stop, we maybe even stop for 30 seconds, and I realize, okay, yes, this is Florence. Let's get up. We get up, we get our bags down, we walk. I'm talking like maybe 90 seconds to 2 minutes tops. We're at the door, and they shut the door, and they pull off from the station. And I was like pulling on shit, like trying like, where's the stop? Like, where's the emergency? I need to get off. So, and they're go back to talking in Italian, and I'm like, what do we do? And
Yeah,
so
he
we
was
just
freaking
kind of
out.
went back to our seat, and they were like, you're just going to have to get off at the next stop, which is Bologna, and buy another ticket to go back to Florence, which luckily was only like 40 minutes. So we lost like an hour and a half, but it was still that moment of panic of like, that's where we needed to go.
What's
our
gonna
Airbnb
happen?
is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our Airbnb host was waiting for
Where
us.
are we going?
Yeah,
Like,
I had no idea what the next stop, like how far away is that? So that was exciting. And let me tell you, every other train we took that whole trip, we were like, when we got, probably 10, 20 kilometers out from the station, we were up
You
at the
were
door
standing.
waiting.
Yeah.
And never had an issue. They were at the station for like 30 minutes every time. So I don't know if they were behind schedule at one stop or what, that we
I
just
don't
got
know.
screwed. But
It was
that was
strange.
really that, and then we'll get to the other hiccup towards the end. But so from Florence, we stayed there for 3 or 4 days.
3 days. We did an Airbnb there. In Paris and Rome, we did a hotel.
Okay.
And then when we went to
In Rome, we stayed at the Waldorf.
Yeah, we stayed at
which
the
is amazing.
Waldorf
nicest
Astoria, which is
hotel.
above the city. It was gorgeous.
So when we were in Florence, we day tripped to Tuscany,
Nice.
and we went to a couple wineries and did some wine tastings, tasted some wines, some olive oils and stuff, some cheeses, and that was awesome. It was gorgeous. And then we went to like this, one of the stops out there near the winery was this medieval castle.
Yeah,
It was
that
like
nice.
600 BC or something, and like
Wow.
50 people still lived there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's
Wow.
like, I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's nothing there besides the things that they make. You
Yeah.
know? Like their cheeses and meats that they are producing themselves. Yeah, it was
It was
crazy.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then from there, we took a train down to Naples.
Awesome. Napoli.
Naples is dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
It
your
wasn't our
favorite?
favorite, so which is crazy because I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna love this. You know, we're gonna be close to the coast. Now down on the water was great, but
Yeah, we met some
like,
nice people.
the city was dirty, and then everything is very built up. So like we came from Florence and from Rome, where, like you could walk around and you're seeing beautiful sights everywhere you look. And then you go to Naples, and it's like every street is like an alleyway.
Right.
So you'll
I
walk
feel you.
several blocks, and then it'll open up into a square. But even then, it's like maybe a restaurant or two and a church, and then that's it. And it's still not anywhere close to the beauty that you're seeing in Rome and in Florence. So
Yeah.
it was a bit different, but we day tripped from there to we went to
Amalfi.
Amalfi Coast, and that was insane.
Yeah, I would
Sorrento.
love that. All the
Sorrento,
seafood and everything. And just,
Amalfi,
Posi-
Capri,
Positano.
Positano.
That's where we went, yeah. I'm glad we did a day trip for that. Like, we obviously want to stay there next time, but
I mean, Amalfi's gorgeous, and that's like those super postcard scenic views where like it's
Right.
built into the side of the cliff. But I mean, you could see all of Amalfi in like the actual city of Amalfi in like
A
2
day.
hours.
yeah.
yeah.
So to stay there, I'd probably feel a bit claustrophobic. But we went to
To get
Sorrento.
there, scary.
Yeah, super sketchy to get there, driving on the cliffs and stuff. But when we went to Sorrento, we want to go back and stay there because it was like far enough away from Naples where it wasn't the big city feel, but there was still enough there where you wouldn't feel like trapped almost. And it's right on the coast. It's gorgeous.
Right on.
Yeah, we liked our Airbnb there. We did another Airbnb, and it was
then-
a family.
Yeah, and then from there we went to we flew to Barcelona, and it was awesome.
Always wanted to go to Barcelona.
So we
It's
were
like
there
one of the best
for
street skating spots in the world.
yeah,
beautiful.
It
And the
was
cops
beautiful.
don't get
clean.
pissed.
And it was
Yeah.
so clean. I tell people, I'm like, I don't know if it's because I came from Naples, so like Naples being juxtaposed
anything's
against
better?
Barcelona.
No, I
it's
heard-
like,
I've heard
it's that
Barcelona is
clean.
real
But I mean,
clean and real
I'll tell you
pretty.
this: we saw people walking their dogs, and they would have spray bottles with them, and if their male dogs would lift their leg and pee on something, they would like spray it off. Like
Wow.
everybody was doing it, and I was like, "This is
you can tell that they
insane."
had like some type of soap in it too. It wasn't
Yeah,
just
it wasn't
like
just
water.
like water.
Yeah.
Shake it up and then spray on it.
Yeah, it's
But
crazy.
they also didn't have a lot of grass, so they were, their dogs.
Yeah, but like
only
you're
had-
not gonna. I mean,
You wouldn't see that in New
Hell,
York.
right.
you wouldn't
exactly.
see that anywhere.
And not in America.
Nobody cares.
So
No.
it was awesome, and
Freedom.
I have a close friend that lives there that's from there, so we met up with her and she showed us around. But unfortunately, we got there on a Sunday. She explained to us that they were going through some political hardship.
Yep, there were riots there and stuff, right?
Yeah, so basically, Catalonia wanted their. Hopefully, I'm getting all this right. Catalonia wanted their independence from Spain. So there was a group of like 10 or so politicians that organized a poll for people to vote. Well, that was treasonous because they were Spanish politicians, essentially like organizing a poll to succeed from
Yeah.
from the country. So it was they all got arrested. Well, all of the Catalan people that did want to be independent, obviously were upset about that they got arrested. Well, we got there on Sunday, and Beto explained to us, if you see this flag or you see this ribbon, it's because of these politicians that are in jail. They got tried that following day, Monday, and they all got sentenced to prison time. So, like, shit hit the fan.
Right when we were there.
So we got, she was out driving around. We were like at least an hour outside of the city, and we got stuck on the highway for like 5 or 6 hours because of protesters. And they're not violent over there. Like, this shit would never fly in the States. I even said, like, there's like maybe, what do you think, 200 protesters or so, maybe a little bit more?
A little bit more. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you give me like 5 of my buddies from back home and we could clear this
And
space in like 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
It's like 7-8 lanes of traffic.
Yeah, they shut it down. There's trucks just sitting there. And I'm like, yo, if this was the States, number one, people would be out of their cars moving these people. Or number two, these semi-trucks would just be, you just go 5 miles an hour and it's like, you're either going to move or you're going to get run over.
Right.
And nobody did anything. The cops were there. Nobody did anything. So we were there for like 6 hours. Sun goes down. We move enough cars to where we can get across the 4 lanes or 5 lanes of highway, and then go back the opposite way on the shoulder. And the protesters see what we're trying to do, and they try and block.
They jump the barricade.
Yeah, they jump the barricade and they try and block the shoulder too. Like, I don't know, 10 or 15 people come over there. Yeah. And at that point, we'd been sitting there for 6 hours. I didn't know, I'm stuck with my wife and my other female friend. I don't know what's going on. The sun's going down. So I got out of the car and I told them to keep driving. And I just like started shoving people. And you could tell that they were just shocked that
someone was out there moving people.
That I put my hands on them.
We're trying to
get
open
the
our
fuck out
doors.
of
And
the
it
way.
was, and I mean, I went nuts. I lost, I was yelling, and one dude pulled a gun out, and guns are illegal over there. And that's when I threw him down, and I just took off running, and I got back in the car, and I was like, yo, book it. And this is how different it is there than here, because guns are illegal. To me, it's like, I didn't love having a gun pulled out on me, but I was like, if he was going to shoot me, he would have shot me. He's not just going to, if you pull it out and don't do anything, you're probably not about it. But I told Beto, who's from there, and she was like, there's a cop up here. Should we stop and tell them that this guy's got a gun? I'm like, what are we going to say? Like, one of the 300 people back there has a gun? Like, just keep fucking driving.
Yeah.
So she gets us, it was crazy. We're going the wrong way on the highway and shit. We finally get back to...
They had it all blocked off. No one could get on the highway.
Yeah, we finally get back close enough. She got us close enough to a subway station. We walked the rest of the way to the subway station. She told us to get on the subway and what stop to get off, and we got off in Barcelona. She was scared that if she kept driving in Barcelona, we either would get stuck in traffic again or she would get stuck trying to leave, and she lived outside of the city.
Right.
So we make it back. The next day, we're fine. We're like, okay, let's not go anywhere too far.
Right.
We're luckily staying downtown, so we took like a rickshaw around and walked and stuff and had some good food and saw there's amazing architecture over there. And then that night, she called us. We weren't supposed to leave for like another 2 days, and she basically called us and said, they're marching on... That day, there was riots at the airport. But she said they're marching on Barcelona tomorrow. She said there's like sites where they're organizing it, so she was following it. And she was
her brother was a pilot too. So
yeah, her brother was a pilot actually for the airline that we were flying out on. So we were very lucky to be informed. But she basically was like, you guys need to leave immediately. So the next morning, we weren't due to leave for like another day. We got up and we took a taxi to the airport. And we sat we paid to get in the lounge or whatever, which was like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks a person.
Like
but we
5
could sat there
hours.
we sat there longer than that, I think. And there's food and drinks and stuff included in there. So we just sat in the airport for like a whole day just so we didn't miss our flight and get stuck, because we had to fly from there back to Paris, spend the night again in Paris to come home.
Right.
So if we missed that flight, we were not coming home.
Yeah, you stuck there in the middle of the coup.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, and like a day later, like I had my Delta app up, and it was like no flights, in or out of Barcelona.
Yeah.
Everything was shut down.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a fun ending to our
Yeah,
trip.
our last night there, they were firing. We were walking around downtown, and it was pretty crazy. It was busy, like nothing going on, like where I didn't feel safe or anything. But they started firing riot rounds. I didn't know what it was. It sounded like gun, and people started freaking out and running and screaming. And Amy and I were kind of like on the outskirts, and I was like trying to go towards it. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "This could be. We could be witnessing history. I don't know what that was. I don't know what they just shot."
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to go up in it, but I want to see what happened. But then I figured out it was riot rounds, and so we went back to the Airbnb, and that night we were watching the news, and people were like lighting stuff on fire,
Yeah,
like a block,
helicopters
2
were
blocks
over
from
Airbnb.
where we were staying.
Oh,
So I was
shit.
like, all right, let's go.
Well, we were walking, it was like an outside town center mall type thing, and they were having like a big protesting thing there, and we were just walking, and the more we walked, we were getting more into a crowd, and he was like, I don't want to get into this shit. So I was like, okay. So we turned around, and then like not even half a block down, that's when we heard all the riot rounds going off, and he's like, ooh, and wants to go into it. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like all running towards us.
That's
I'm
an
like,
American.
no.
There's a gunfire. Let's see what it is.
Yeah.
What gun are they shooting? Fucking wild. Glad you guys are safe. Glad you enjoyed the trip.
Yeah, I
It
definitely want
was.
to go back to Barcelona because I feel like we barely dented.
Yeah.
We got like a day and a half of Barcelona, and it was gorgeous.
So let me ask you this: with all of the COVID-19 crisis going on, how do you guys feel about the state of our society and how the government's handling it and how the public is reacting to it?
Okay, so I'm like right in the middle, which I feel like the majority of the country should be. I feel like people are either, it's not a big deal, it's not as serious as the flu, or it's the apocalypse. And I
Right.
feel like we need to be a little bit more level-headed. I just gave an example this morning to Amy. We were actually at the chiropractor before this, and I was telling them how on Yahoo Mail I saw newborn baby. This is a headline. You know, they give you 5 or 6 stories on your homepage,
Yeah, the clickbait.
and it says, newborn baby dies from COVID-19. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't heard of that yet. So I click on the story. The mother tested positive a couple weeks ago, delivered the baby 23 weeks premature, and the baby died. You can't prove that it died
Because of COVID-19.
or that she even delivered prematurely
because of
it.
COVID-19, right.
The baby died because it was 23 weeks premature.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of shit, you know, like if I go into the movie theater and I yell fire, or if I go onto a plane and I yell bomb, that's a felony.
Yeah.
Why is this not illegal? Why is this? And that's the majority of the media in this country. So I feel like people should really do their own research and do their due diligence and not just believe everything they read or hear.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like you said, they'll just open up and they'll skim
They'll
the
read the
headlines,
headline.
then they'll never click on the actual story.
Nope. And then they go tell their friend or their coworker, and their friend regurgitates that shit to somebody else.
In missing some facts,
Yeah.
and a lot of times misconstruing, the facts. Like, so I completely agree with you.
And I also think that the government as a whole, I won't get into politics or like views or anything like that.
Oh
but
no, this is we encourage that here.
being a business owner, I won't do that. But I will say that as a whole, the government really dropped the ball, right? So let me give you some backstory here. I told you I've got clients all over the country. I have clients that have been on lockdown in California, New York for weeks and weeks and weeks. Florida just went on statewide shutdown or mandatory stay at home, whatever you want to call it, last week, right? These people have already been on that for 3 or 4 weeks. There should have been a unified approach nationwide.
Completely agree.
If you're going to shut shit down for 4 weeks, do it nationwide instead of in stages, because what you're doing is you are literally fucking these people. Now a lot of people can't work, and it's just getting drug on and on and on and on and on. As of last week, there was still 9 states, I believe, that didn't have any kind of regulation on leaving their house or, the essential businesses only being open. Everything was still up and running as usual. That's a lot when other states have been shut down for like a month. There should have been okay, this is going to suck. Let's rip the Band-Aid off, shut everything down nationwide for 4 weeks. If you really want to flatten the curve. I think that's the biggest.
Because everyone from New York was coming down.
Yeah, I
Florida.
agree. I think that initially, Trump got a lot of flack for shutting down travel to areas where it was spiking, specifically initially China. And I actually supported him on it. I was like, yeah, shut it down early because it's starting to spread rapidly. But from that point on, I completely agree that they've just fumbled and dropped the ball. It seems to me that they're starting to, once they realized, I felt like they're also trying to shut down the travel, the travel bans and everything, because it is an election year, and so they're trying to handle it the best way possible. And then they realized what an economic disaster this was about to be, and now all the Republican states started worrying about our capitalistic society. And no, we can't have people home, because now all of a sudden they're doing what Bernie Sanders has been trying to do and reallocate money to help.
That's what I said.
The common people. It's so funny. The Republicans started talking like socialists.
Yeah. That's the first thing I said weeks ago when they came out with this stimulus package. I said it's kind of comical that all of the Trump supporters that have been anti, socialism and making fun of Bernie Sanders are now praising him for giving a stimulus package to everybody. Like, that's socialism. Which, like I said, I'm not going to get into my political views. I just think it's funny that people in this country, it's funny and it's sad to laugh at it, because if not, you'll get depressed, how easily influenced and easily misled the general public is in this country.
Yeah, and also it's just how divided, each side wants to make each other. We were honestly just like a generation ago, we had like real news, unbiased news, and we actually had politicians that were more willing to work with each other. It seems like now it's just like the other side is an enemy. But then when a disaster happens, now everybody wants to talk, oh, we're all Americans. Well, why can't we all be Americans like every day, all day? Like, if we're American, you know what I mean? Like, why does it have to be we all stand united once a disaster happens? But the minute that's not occurring, we want to nitpick and point fingers and speak aggressively about the opposite political party.
So there needs to be a legitimate emphasis on legitimate third party in this country for anything to get done for the people, because the bipartisan system is not working. They're just like you're saying, they're just voting against each other. They're not voting for, what is best for us. And to be honest, I'm a skeptic. I don't think any of the politicians, and if there are some out there, it's very, very few, actually care what's best for us, for the average Joes. It's what's good for their longevity, their pocket, their best interest. So
I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. She was the most qualified one out of all of them, in my opinion. But here, one thing I do want to say, because I've heard this a lot, especially from my Republican friends, that this mandatory stay-at-home order is martial law. And so I just want to kind of clear this up for everybody that thinks this might be martial law, or you are not sure what martial law is. I completely encourage you to look it up. But martial law is the imposition of direct military control of normal civilian functions by government. Okay? You being told that you have to stay. Do you see the National Guard rolling down your street?
One time, and let me tell you, I leave my house daily.
Yeah, are there military checkpoints? Because one time I was in a under curfew after a hurricane in South Florida, and I went through a National Guard checkpoint. I've seen what it looks like when there's actual military enforcing of curfews and stuff like that, and this is not it. So I definitely just wanted to clear that up, since we're talking about that.
But that's not even what you're talking about, and I remember that too.
No, that was just because it was a disaster, and they were there to...
That's not even martial law, if I'm not mistaken. That's Stafford Act, which is for federal emergencies, natural disasters, stuff like that.
Correct.
Where they will step in and regulate. But no, martial law is basically like they're taking away your rights to live normally.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me that this mandatory stay-at-home act was taking away his freedoms, that they're infringing on his constitutional rights, his First and Second Amendment. And I was like, "Why are they taking your guns? No, are they taking your freedom of speech? I'm pretty sure you're still typing away on Twitter and Facebook."
Yeah.
But anyway, one last political question: do either of you think Biden can beat Trump?
To be honest, I don't put much thought into it, because I'm going to have a hard time voting for either of them, if you want my honest opinion.
My honest opinion, too. I agree.
And that's what I say all the time when I said there needs to be a legitimate third party for us to get anything done. think about it like this, right? People say we're the greatest nation in the world. I can agree on some fronts. I don't know that I would make that generalized statement, but we are a pretty great nation. Let's look at the last several elections. Are you telling me that this is the best of the best that we can come up with?
It's
And
sad
if that
it
doesn't
is.
prove to you that the almighty dollar is running this country, I don't know what will.
Well said. Well said. Well, you guys got any companies, brands, sponsors, products you want to give a shout out to?
We'll give a shout out to Island Fresh Meals. They work with us. They prep a lot of our food for us. You can get a discount from them. You can find them on Instagram, Island Fresh. The discount code is Affinity 10. You can order online. They do. They have a weekly menu that they put out. They do customizable food. They do food for vegans, vegetarians, dietary restrictions. Doesn't matter. They do it all.
And you said the code is Affinity 10?
Affinity 10.
AFFINITY 10, right? 10. Cool.
And Degree Wellness is another company we work with. They're at the town center in Jacksonville Beach. They
Awesome.
offer like cryotherapy.
Infrared sauna.
Yes.
Whoa, sick.
Stuff for,
All the high-tech healing stuff.
recovery.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Rad. Well, why don't you tell all my listeners where they can find you guys on social media?
You can find the team page, Affinity Fitness, on Instagram, and you can find me, Alex Pomeroy Fitness, on Instagram as well.
Our team is Team Affinity Fitness.
Sorry.
For Instagram, and I'm Amy P. Roy
Awesome.
on Instagram.
Yep.
Well, thanks a bunch for coming on and sitting down. We've already been talking for, looks like a little over an hour.
Yeah.
Time
Thanks for
flies.
having us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Alrighty.
Hey guys, it's your boy Paulie, thanking you for tuning in. If you don't mind, take this moment to go ahead, like, subscribe, and share the channel and the podcast. We'd be super thankful for it. If you have any questions for me about my guests, about booking, advertising spots, sponsorships, or just questions for Paulie in general, we will be starting a new segment called Ask Paulie. Go ahead and email me at paulionthepod@gmail.com. That's PAULYONTHEPOD@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Our guests next week are super dope. Tune in. You won't want to miss it. Until next time. Later.